Welcome to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit.
It's the big guy. Get in here.
And today, it's Wise Wednesday.
You're so wise, but like a miniature Buddha covered in hair.
Giving you the smartest financial advice in every aspect of your financial life.
You're so money and you don't even know it.
And now, the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit on ESPN Radio 1700.
Hey, it's your tomorrow. Come on, it's everything. It's a magic moment.
Welcome. It is your lunch hour. It's that time again. It's Wise Wednesday, and how fast Wednesday has come this week with a holiday on Monday. I feel like my week is all thrown off in a good way. It's one less work day in the week is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just got me a little bit twisted on my time, and I feel like I rolled into the studio at the last minute today. We have an amazing panel, as always. That's what we do here on the Mr. Credit Radio Show. It's John Jerotz, JJ, with Synergy One Lending in the hot seat today. And with me in the studio, I have Melissa Zavala with Broadpoint Properties. How you doing, Melissa?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since we've been in the studio together, and looking forward to this. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So has the week been thrown off for you a little bit?
Yes, I keep on thinking it's Tuesday.
Yeah. No, it is. It's weird how that happens. And a lot of times on holiday weeks, my wife always will ask me, are you working? Because I forget that we have the holiday. In this Labor Day, I said, you know what? It's supposed to be one of those days that you actually take off from laboring. I'm going to do that. And I did work a little bit, but enjoy time with the family, so it was good. Let's do a quick market update. And I see a little bit of red on the board, a little bit of green, but it's pretty even. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming days as we enter September here. We are in September. This certainly doesn't feel like we're getting close to fall outside, but this is normal September weather, nice and warm out there. I'm actually not even wearing a coat, which I normally do. If you're in the interest rate market and you are looking at real estate or looking at obtaining a mortgage, let me kind of tell you what's gone on here. Yesterday we lost a little bit of ground on rate. So hopefully you didn't go into the holiday weekend thinking that interest rates were just going to stay the same for you. It's just kind of what happens. Typically, you go to a 3-day weekend, stuff happens overseas, whether it be good, bad, and different, and it's a new month. It's a new month, plain and simple. So with mortgage-backed securities, you have some what they call rollover with mortgage-backed securities going from month to month, and that can adversely affect things. But we had a little bit of sell-off yesterday. Not too big, but it did push the 10-year yields up over 2.4, and they're just down a little bit today. So just be careful. That's kind of been my mantra now for quite some time, and probably all year. I mean, we got very fortunate, Melissa, with interest rates kind of coming down after they were inflated in the beginning of the year, and they've definitely hit some low points a couple different times for the year. And you owning a couple different brokerages with Broadpoint Properties, I mean, you see it. You see the agents that work for you and yourself that are out there with shoppers. And I don't know, what's the feeling? I mean, when you talk to people, with the interest rates, are people thinking that rates are going to continue to go down, or is the consensus, like my consensus, is that, get prepared because they're going up?
Well, I know you speak with a lot more home buyers directly, but what I've really seen is kind of people seem to be agents, particularly in a lull right now. It's been such a long time at such a low rate that it would be shocking to them to see something even approaching 5 or 6, which of course a few years back was like awesome.
Yes.
We thought that was awesome.
Yeah. It's, and it's interesting. I mean, the problem with interest rates being as low as they have been for so long is people do get complacent. We're number one, we're all spoiled now. We're spoiled, and the expectations are that interest rates are going to be in the 4s or in the 3s for a long period of time. And the reality is that they're just not going to be. They might hang around in the 4s for a little bit of time, but be careful. We've been very fortunate this year with the feds pulling out of their bond buying activity and interest rates remaining low. I mean, now we're in a true supply and demand sort of situation. But get ready. I mean, if the Fed's decided to unload some holdings, we could see a pretty big push up in rates. So we just have to be careful and just don't get greedy. That's always my thing when I'm talking with people. If you're in escrow, you're in a 30-day escrow, 45-day escrow, you don't have a lot of time to mess around. You want to get loan documents for signing a week before closing. So now you're down to 20-something days, and you got to make a decision. You got to pull the trigger at some point in time, lock in the rate. Just be done with it. Worry about the moving, setting up your cable, inspections, and all that good stuff. So here's an interesting kind of scary story, and this is on the heels of some emails that I see coming back, and I have a couple different email accounts, Melissa. One is kind of a junk email account. It's been around for a long period of time, and it's been exposed to a lot of different shopping activities, different, if there's an account to be set up that I don't really care about, that's the email address I'll use. It's the junk email address. Well, there's another big hack that happened. Home Depot is now investigating a massive hack. It's pretty scary, and I've shopped at Home Depot in this time. I mean, it's possible that these hackers were in their Home Depot's computer systems all the way back from May until recent. And that's scary. I mean, I've been at Home Depot running my card through, and, do they have my credit card number? Do they have the expiration date? What do they have? I don't know. But they might have my email address. I'm seeing some email kickbacks from my junk account today. And that means probably some hacker sent out a spam email in my name, and it's, they're getting kicked back. It's just scary what's out there. Melissa, have you been a target to any one of these big hackers, from the Target to the Albertsons to the Michaels, Neiman Marcus, P.F. Chang's, Super Value? And we don't have those out here, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. But one of the things I see a lot of is emails from my bank saying your credit card's been compromised. I'm sending you another one with a new number. And so then you have to go back and contact all the people you have on your auto monthly payments and reschedule all that. And I think it happens probably twice a year for the last few years. So definitely the hacker public seems to be getting increasingly more successful in getting through the technology, which just means that we're going to have to up the game a bit. I don't know if this ties in for sure, but Google just changed some parts of their algorithm to reward people that have SSL sites, so more secure security certificates on their websites. So perhaps they are kind of aware of, how of course they are aware of how robust and how, these systems are for hacking.
Interesting. That's Melissa Zavala with Broadpoint Properties in the studio, and we will have our board-certified tax attorney, Jeffrey Kahn, joining us here in the second segment at about 12:15, so stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about the real estate market today. Jeffrey's going to be talking about some IRS issues that are out there. Very interesting stuff, so you have to stay tuned for that. Melissa's in the real estate game. We're going to talk about a new program that is out there called New Path for home buyers that have had some challenges recently, so stay tuned for that one as well. When we talk about the hacking, Melissa, and it's just scary to me. I mean, I have had little hacks done. I won't use PayPal anymore. Sorry, PayPal, won't use them anymore. Just because it seems like a cheesy system to me. It seems very antiquated in today's technology, and it was hacked. Somebody ordered an Apple iTunes card that was sent to New York on my credit card. Never really got an answer, just got the credit. Nobody ever even responded to my customer service request, but it got fixed. It's fine. But we have to be careful. I mean, we are now in a different age, especially when it comes to what sort of stuff we're saving and where we're saving it. And it's interesting. I think that we've all become very complacent. We take pictures. They're on our smartphones. We delete them out. We upload them to the computer. Where's the computer being saved to? I use Dropbox a lot with a lot of stuff. What if Dropbox is hacked? There's a lot of stuff there. There's probably some personal information there.
Probably lots of personal information.
Lots of personal stuff, pictures, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I know that CNN put a it's probably all over the news, but CNN had this report on famous stars and nude pictures getting released out there. And the problem is that you take a picture with your phone. You have an iPhone or whatever, Android. That's all getting saved somewhere else. It's getting saved in the cloud now. And it's not getting just saved on your phone where you can delete it and it's gone. It's getting saved somewhere else. So even if you go to the cloud, you delete it out of your little account, they've probably backed it up 2 or 3 times because they don't want to lose your information. So your information is there. It's out there. Just be careful with where you're saving it and what you're doing with it, especially the nude photos. I mean, Melissa, you got to be careful of that stuff. No, and I bring that up because I think it's, Snapchat. I know my wife is a big Snapchat user with her friends, and they take silly photos, really just silly photos, back and forth. She'll take pictures of the kids, and but you think they're just silly. They're there for 3 seconds, and poof, they're gone. It's probably not the case. They're on somebody's heart somewhere. It's on a hard drive somewhere out there.
Well, I think culturally, we're just so accustomed now with technology to immediacy, and we don't think of the consequences of immediacy. For example, on YouTube, we're all watching these viral videos with 2 million, 3 million, 4 million views. Maybe the person didn't realize the consequences of that. What are the ramifications for them?
It's true.
Of course, some people love that stuff, but on the other hand, we just don't think about that. We just think, I'm going to take this picture. It's so awesome now. This is what I ate, or this is this person over there, from Breaking Bad, a star, whatever they're taking. They're not thinking about the consequences of that later on.
And it's true. I mean, think of it, as if you're a younger listener out there, I mean, what you're posting on Facebook and Twitter and all these things, I mean, that stuff is there. It's there forever. And I don't think kids really understand that aspect of it. I certainly didn't grow up with, the internet as the number one thing. I didn't even believe that the internet would be a success when it came out. I mean, I had a business at the time. Somebody said, "Oh, you got to get your business on the internet." What are you talking about? What is that? And obviously it's changed the world. Have you seen the movie Transcendence? I think that's what it is, with Johnny Depp. No. Very interesting movie. I'm not a big sci-fi guy, but picked it out of a red box very quickly. It was a very quick pick. I got nervous because somebody was waiting. I had my 2 kids with me. We had already gotten the kid movie. It was a quick pick. But an interesting movie in that the internet, somebody kind of took over the internet and turned it into just where everything was touched by the internet, every living thing. And it was definitely sci-fi.
Something that he has a computer chip in his head or something like that?
He didn't, but he kind of took over something he was building, kind of a main hub. And because he took it over, he just built it and built it and built it. But the internet, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, it's an amazing thing. It touches all walks of life, and it's only going to get bigger and badder in some circumstances. So just be careful with that. When we come back, we're going to have Jeffrey Kahn. He's calling in. He's a busy guy. He's up in L.A. He's calling in, taking time out of his busy day. He's our board-certified tax attorney. And we're going to touch base. What is the IRS up to right now? And it's pretty scary what they're kind of doing, what they're thinking. It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Wise Wednesday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. It is your lunch hour, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to hopefully make yourself a little bit smarter than the next guy. That's what we're here to do. And with helping us do that, we have in the studio today Melissa Zavala with Broadpoint Properties, and hopefully on the phone right now we have Jeffrey Kahn. Are you there, Jeff?
Hi, JJ. I am here. How are you?
I am doing. I'm doing great. And are you up in LA today? Correct?
Yes, I am. I'm in LA downtown, and I'm on the 36th floor. So
nice.
Not a nice view, but I'm still not high enough to see you, JJ.
Well, you don't need to see us because that is what the phones are still for. One of these days, Jeffrey, we'll be able to just link you into the live studio with a camera on your phone, because we are streaming on Mr. Credit TV, excuse me. Jeffrey is our board-certified tax attorney, and if you want to know more about Jeff, go to kahntaxlaw.com, and that's his website. But Jeffrey, it's interesting. You always send some good stuff, and one of the things that's interesting. I mean, you're always digging into what the IRS is up to, and not just digging into what they're up to, but helping people solve those problems. But this is really interesting. I mean, we have these massive tech companies that, most of them are up in Silicon Valley, and the IRS, it seems like they're just parking themselves to try to figure out what to do or how to make some money out of what's going on. I mean, I know, people in the tech business, even in San Diego here, there's a couple local companies that have had to lure employees over by some of the perks that they provide. And when you go to some of these companies, I mean, it's amazing. They have volleyball courts on the outside. They have amazing gyms on the inside. They have, full bathrooms. They do spin classes, yoga classes, the whole works as far as staying healthy. They also have cafeterias that are cooking up some amazing food. We'll call it gourmet food. And it seems like the IRS is just parking themselves, trying to figure out what to do with this, because it seems like they're thinking that this is a taxable item that's going on in these companies. I mean, what's the information you have on this?
Yeah, that's correct. Basically, the tax code is provided for a long period of time that where an employee is given some kind of a benefit, for example, lunch by the employer. And the reason why that employee is given that benefit is because it's for the convenience for the employer. For example, you are a doctor. You are on call. You have to be at the hospital because at any time you could be called in to do surgery, take care of an accident victim or whatever. But as a human being, you need to eat too. So what's supposed to happen lunchtime? You can't go off the premises. You got to be on the premises for the convenience of the employer to be able to attend to that emergency that just happens to happen. So situations like that, that lunch break, that lunch benefit that the employee's getting is not income to the employee. Problem is, there are a lot of employers out there who are kind of like stretching it, because they know in order to entice the best talent, they need to provide extras. Well, if you're providing extras in the way of increased wages, that's additional income to the employee. Employees don't like that. So that's why you've got a lot of companies, especially in the Silicon Valley, where they're trying to find creative ways that they can entice employees to come work for them, but not have to increase their taxable income because of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, would you say, I mean, I know some of these companies are providing free childcare, they're providing, in-house dry cleaning, et cetera. I mean, is that stuff that kind of gets filtered into the same sort of tax code?
Yeah, exactly. And even if it's not free, even if they're providing, let's say, like a bargain rate, that bargained amount that you're getting, in other words, that reduced amount, the IRS would still argue that's income, to the employees.
So do people need to start looking out for this? I mean, what are we supposed to do? I mean, I work for, let's say I work for Facebook, and hey, you know what? If I'm eating for free some gourmet meals, I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner there, and I'm working 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day. I don't really care. I mean, that's a huge benefit financially to sit around and work and eat at a fun place, probably no less. So, I mean, what do I need to do to protect myself?
Well, basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure that whatever policy is in place for you to get these benefits, that you've got all the documentation from your employer stating, this is the benefit, you need to eat here because we need you here, that type of thing.
Okay.
Because what you don't want to happen is you don't have anything, you now are selected for an audit, and IRS says, well, this is income, and not only are we going to tax you on it, but we're going to hit you up with penalties. And at least by having this backup from the employer, we can get rid of those penalties, and then who knows what kind of arguments now we can make to even show it shouldn't be taxable income to the employee.
Well, it's a game we're gonna find out and probably learn the hard way, right? Dealing with the IRS
Right.
on this one.
Right. But what I suspect is going to happen is, because the IRS doesn't want to go after hundreds or thousands of these employees getting these benefits, they're going to go directly to the big guy, whether it's a Facebook or Google or Twitter, whoever, is providing these benefits, and that's where they're going to do the push. That's where they're going to do the audit. And these companies are either going to cave in and no longer offer these benefits to these employees, or as what some of them have been doing is some of them have been saying, all right, we're not going to offer these benefits anymore. So, JJ, you're an employee of our organization. When you come in and eat lunch, you're no longer getting it for free. You're paying the full price of $20. But to keep you happy, we'll up your pay. So essentially the higher net amount you would have been getting will now cover your free lunch that you're no longer getting.
Interesting. And, I mean, that's a cost to the business right there. I mean, if that sort of stuff does start happening, I mean, it's going to hurt probably employment, because what happens then is now the employer's incurring actually more cost on income taxes, whereas the meals they're probably taking as a write-off in the
That's
business
correct.
expense line item. So we have to be careful with this, and hopefully the IRS makes a good move and a good decision here. I mean, let's not be too greedy when it comes to sucking it all up. You guys get enough as it is. I know that for a fact. Now, Jeff, as people, here we are in September already. Talking about taxes and personal taxes. I mean, you're a tax attorney, so you know the ins, the outs, how to deal with the IRS, which is huge when somebody needs that help. I mean, if you owe money, Jeffrey's the guy you got to talk to, hands down. There's nobody better than that. But as people, I mean, I even have a cousin that first time at school, going to college this year, and a lot of new students heading off to college. Some spouses. Or just people that, would be considered a dependent living at home, now off to college. And there are some tax credits, correct, for higher education?
That's correct. The two biggest ones would be the American Opportunity Tax Credit, and the other one being the Lifetime Learning Credit. And, they could save a huge amount. The American Opportunity Tax Credit, you can get up to $2,500 annually for an eligible student. Wow. The Lifetime Learning Credit allows you to take a tax credit of up to $2,000 on your federal tax return.
So that's big dollars. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that's why we have the experts come on here. And Jeffrey, I know. You're a busy guy, and we appreciate you taking the time to call in. And there's other tax credits, and if you're in one of these cases where you just don't know what to do, and let's say you have filed an extension, and your time is the clock is ticking away to get your 2013 filed, right?
October 15th.
October 15th, and is it September 15th for businesses?
Yes.
September 15th. So if you're a business owner and you filed that extension, I mean, don't forget that, we're now in September 3rd, and you have 12 days to get those things filed, stamped, delivered, and then you have a month, and time starts clicking by. I mean, if you have kids, they're back in school, everything is kind of a rush mode right now. Don't wait till the last minute. If you owe money and you just don't know what to do, do not bury your head in the sand like we see so many people do and avoid the problem. Jeffrey Kahn's here to help. And, just so you know, we have a special offer just for our Mr. Credit listeners. Jeffrey and the law offices of Mr. Kahn here will provide you with a free tax resolution plan. And just so you know, it's free. It's a $500 value. And as long as you mention Mr. Credit when you call to make the appointment, you'll save that $500. You'll get it for free. You'll meet with Jeffrey Kahn right here locally in San Diego. He's going to drive or fly down here, trains, planes, automobiles, whatever, maybe a Segway down here to San Diego to meet with you one-on-one to go over your issue. To set up this appointment, you need to call this number. It's 866-494-6829, 866-494-6829. Jeffrey, again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to call down. Great information.
No problem. Thanks for having me, JJ.
You got it. We'll talk soon, and be safe up there in LA. Don't melt in the LA heat.
I won't.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. When we come back, we have Melissa Zavala in the studio. I like just saying that name, so I'm going to say it a lot today. Broadpoint Properties. We're going to talk about some different things in the real estate market. And I know one of these things is happening a lot, and that's people canceling escrow. We're going to get to the bottom of it when we come back. It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853. We'll get it done.
Welcome back to the lunch hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Wise Wednesday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. It is your lunch hour. We're just talking about food. Melissa Zavala and myself, we're talking about breakfast burritos. Are they healthy or not healthy? And I'm going to take the answer as typically they're not, because there's not that much protein in them typically, right?
Maybe the eggs. That's
the eggs.
Part.
The
or
eggs.
You have black beans in them.
That's true. Black bean, egg, and maybe a wheat tortilla might be the trick, but then you make it, it's like a 6-egg burrito. Melissa, what I do sometimes is when I am craving that and I'm offered that and it's a gigantic burrito, I'll hold it up to my stomach and I'll be like, this thing in like 5 minutes, if I eat it all, is going to be in my body.
2 extra pounds.
Right? It's crazy, right? When you really put it all in perspective, and it helps me cut it in half and eat only half of it. But we just got off the phone with Jeffrey Kahn, our board-certified tax attorney. Always appreciate him calling in. We have Melissa Zavala, Broadpoint Properties. So, Melissa, you have 2 locations, correct?
Right.
One in Escondido, one in Encinitas.
Correct.
And you've connected those dots with Del Dios Highway, right, to make it easy.
Right.
Or the 70 or 78 to make it a little easier. But two great areas, and we'll talk about the areas. But one of the things I want to pick your brain on is, I have seen it on my side as well. Is people entering escrow. And it could be 5 days in, it could be 10 days in, it could be all the way to the 17-day contingency mark, or even further when they've already asked for an extension on the contingency, and then they pull the plug and they cancel. And I want to get to the bottom of it. What is going on with these cancellations? I mean, what are you finding out there as to, is it the market right now? What is it? Is it the market, or is it the buyers, or is it the sellers? Is it the homes? What's going on?
Here's what I think, and chime in, of course, and tell me. But what I've noticed is that right now we're kind of stagnant at a 13-week absorption rate. That means for San Diego County, and then for most of the cities within San Diego County, meaning that it would, if no new homes came in on the market today, it would take 13 weeks to sell out on the inventory.
Okay, so a little over 3 months.
Right.
Okay.
6 months is a balanced market.
Okay.
So we're still technically in a seller's market. However, about April, May of last year, absorption rate was like 3 to 4 weeks. So we were getting multiple offers on properties, and by multiple, I mean 10 or 20 offers on a single property. So now there's a lot more inventory. And so buyers can pick and choose more. So the subconsciously you're thinking, oh, there might be another house around the block that might be a better deal, or somebody else fell out, so they want to get into that. There are a lot of ramifications of that, though. But I do think that the more inventory makes the buyers feel that they're taking their decision a little less seriously.
Okay. So I mean, I just don't understand it, Melissa. I mean, if you're not interested in a home, truly interested in the home, just don't put an offer in on the house. I mean, you can try to dip your toes in the sand and see if it feels good, but there's no reason. I mean, when you enter escrow, there's a lot of different things happen. I mean, you're tying up the house where other people can't purchase it. You're tying it up possibly for a couple weeks. You're dealing with people's livelihoods. I mean, sellers might be planning on moving and they get those processes started. So it is a problem. And why are you seeing the reason? I mean, are you seeing specific sort of reasons for canceling?
Well, there are about 3 main reasons that people can cancel according to the contract, as long as they're within the timeframes that are stated in the contract. And we're talking about the residential purchases now. And those are if they didn't like something that was on the disclosures, if a material fact that was disclosed to them is something they're not real comfortable about, if they didn't like something that turns up on the inspection and the seller, they can't come to terms with the seller on how that might or would be repaired, or if they have a loan, an issue with their loan. But all of that needs to happen within the first set, according to the contract, unless it's negotiated otherwise. That would be the 17 days.
Yep.
So I've seen people cancel because the wife got pregnant and they decided they had second thoughts about the home. I've seen people cancel because I had someone cancel a few weeks ago because they quit their job 2 days prior to closing, so they couldn't get their loan. So I think that built into all of this is that it's vital for you as a lender and myself and my team as real estate professionals to set expectations accordingly for the buyer. Getting pregnant, while definitely you can see logically it might not be a suitable house because of the surprise information, you can't cancel the contract. There's nothing stipulated on the contract that says pregnancy, you get your deposit back. So you've got to really understand the terms of the contract and take it seriously.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think taking the contract actually seriously is the problem right now, is that people are not taking it seriously for what it truly is. I mean, it really is a contract. I'll give you an example. I have a husband and wife, and they're up in the Napa area, and I know he's a very fortunate guy and gal right now because they canceled their escrow about 7 days prior to the earthquake happening up there, and the house probably isn't even standing. I probably was pretty damaged in the house, but it was for construction defects in the house, having an inspector out there. He actually had 2 inspectors out there, and that's a legitimate reason to cancel. But you shouldn't just cancel an escrow because a light socket or a light plate's out of order, or it's twisted, or a screw's not straight. It should be for real reasons, and just be careful. I mean, it's a big deal, and I'm saying that, but I'm not saying that buyers shouldn't do their due diligence.
Absolutely.
You should.
Absolutely.
And that's why we do inspections.
And you need to do them right away
Yep.
because you've only got those 17 days. So as soon as you have an accepted offer, you need to contact the lender, have the appraisal done, do the inspections, read all the paperwork. It's so much paperwork and it's so overwhelming, but get your real estate professional to help you with that so that you know what you are getting into. Go to the inspection, follow the inspector around, ask lots of questions. Now, on the flip side, I'm also seeing a lot of investors like cash, they want to flip. Pardon the flip there.
That's
but
good. Yeah.
what we're seeing is all of a sudden they realize, because the market is a little more stagnant, a little slower now, that their return on investment isn't as good. So they'll back out 48 hours prior to closing. They don't care if they lose their deposit because it's better than not being able to flip the property and make their margin that they were hoping for.
Yeah, so they'd rather lose a little bit than a lot. I think one of the things that could slow this down, I mean, is increase the deposits. Go back to the days of a solid 3% deposit in escrow, and it might stop people from maybe looking around or canceling for reasons that aren't legitimate reasons. We have Melissa Zavala in the studio, Broadpoint Properties. If you want to check out Melissa, go to broadpointproperties.com. I'm going to give you her number right now. Write it down. Give it to somebody who might be looking to buy or sell a home. She's obviously an expert. We only bring the experts in the studio. 760-839-3838. That's 760-839-3838. So, Melissa, one of the things that has recently happened, the real estate game is always changing. But listing, we talk about, it should be a seller's market right now, but it doesn't really feel like a seller's market, even though, the absorption rate's only 13 weeks. We're still far from about half the time from a balanced market. But I know that sellers aren't really feeling that way. I mean, what are some of the things that sellers have to ask their real estate agent prior to listing their home?
That's a really good question. A lot of people list with their uncle, their cousin, their sister, their nephew, and those people may be excellent real estate professionals, but the key is really to ask them some good questions before signing on the dotted line, because as a seller, you want to sell your home for the maximum amount possible in the most efficient time frame possible. So you definitely want to, whoever you're going to use, check them out. You can check them out on the Bureau of Real Estate website, which is bre.ca.gov, and see if they have any restrictions on their license, any problems with their license.
Make sure they have a license.
That's a good one, too. Secondly, you'll want to check on their production, because the more experienced a realtor is, the more likely that whatever little hurdles or blips in the transaction, they're no big deal to these people, because real estate transactions are somewhat rocky, and the responsibility of the real estate agent is to kind of control the turbulence like a pilot would on a plane. So you want to find someone who's flown a lot of flights in order to help you through that situation.
That's a great analogy. I love it. Yeah.
And another thing that I think is really important is there's a lot of drama right now, and I don't know if we're going to have time to talk about it in detail, but with Zillow and Trulia, and Zillow purchasing Trulia, and a lot of real estate agents feel that there are some misconceptions about what goes on at Trulia and how it hampers their ability to do business. But the key is that all sellers want to be on Trulia. Last time I checked, Zillow was ranked 36 in the United States as far as highly trafficked websites.
Okay, hold that thought, because I want to dig into this more, and I don't want to break as we dig into it. So we'll be right back. We have Melissa Zavala in the studio. It's JJ, Synergy One Lending. It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today, it's Wise Wednesday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. It is your lunch hour. We have Melissa Zavala in the studio, Broadpoint Properties. This is JJ John Jerotz with Synergy One Lending. If you have any questions for myself, for Melissa, for Jeffrey Kahn, who called in a little bit earlier, it's very simple. Go to askjjnow.com. You can give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email, and I will make sure to put you in touch with our guests, because what we do is try to make you a little bit smarter than everybody else, give you the information that you need to know. Before the break, we had just started talking about Zillow and Trulia with Melissa, and Melissa was going into some stats. I wanted to stop her before we got too deep in it, because it's pretty important. We were talking about, what sellers have to ask their agents before listing their house, and you were just about to say, Trulia and Zillow, and I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, so during the break, we went on Alexa, which is the traffic ranking site for global and international real traffic, and Zillow is ranked 40. So that means the 40th most highly trafficked site in the U.S. right now, as of a few minutes ago. Okay. So what that means is that Google, they're usually first. YouTube is second. Then, of course, Facebook, Wikipedia, very highly trafficked sites. But Zillow is 40. So people are going there. Consumers are going there. Home buyers are going there. Home sellers are going there to look at their home values using the Zestimate. Now, the accuracy of that is often called into question, but the key is if people are going there, if you're a home seller, you want your house to be there despite all of the controversy that agents or real estate professionals may feel about that site. So one of the key questions then that a seller might want to ask an agent is, will my house be on Zillow? And you just know that you want maximum exposure for your property. And what better exposure will there be than being on one of the most highly trafficked sites on the internet?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a question for you. I mean, based on that, I mean, I'm a homeowner, and can't I just go into Zillow and just say I want to sell my house and, do one of those? I don't even know what it's called. I stay away from Zillow because, occasionally I'll go there to look at somebody. When somebody says, hey, I was on Zillow, my house is worth $650, they're doing a refinance, I want to see what information that's pulling up, comparing it to what I have access to.
So there are a few components, I believe, of Zillow where you can list your own home. I believe there is a for sale by owner component, and there's also something called Make Me Move. So you can put your pie in the sky. Yes, I want $5 million for my house, and someone can make you move by offering you $5 million. So, but there are certainly some values to real estate professionals that Zillow can't provide, and they do provide a Zestimate, but that is based on the data that they have. They don't get their data directly from the multiple listing service. They get it from a lot of different sources, including manually entered listings, including those for sale by owners, things on other sites that send their data to Zillow, and that's how they get their values. The best person to help you understand and navigate that data would be a local real estate professional who's been inside all of the homes in your tract, who knows which one had a granite countertop and which one had a crack in the slab, because they've been looking and working in that area for a long time. So they can help you to identify what's a realistic comp and what's, the kind of the underlying stuff that you're not going to see in your initial estimate.
And I don't think you're ever going to see it. I mean, as big as Zillow gets or Trulia get, the data that they're putting out is going to be different than a ground level person that's in a day-to-day workload of working that real estate area. I mean, they're just not going to be able to compare to that. Now, one thing that, what is the difference between Zillow and Trulia? I mean, why did they sort of merge? I mean, there must be a difference between the two of them.
Well, Zillow, I think it was on the 28th of July, Zillow purchased stock in Trulia, $3.5 billion of stock.
No cash was traded hands, so it's just a stock purchase. I mean, let's make that clear.
Right. So now they say that they're going to have they're going to run their sites kind of parallel to one another. And by the way, Trulia is ranked 103 in that Alexa ranking right now. And they've historically been about 60 or 70 points lower than Zillow. So I don't know if they were trying to wipe out their competition in one blow or, but truly, Zillow already owns a lot of other companies. They own Market Leader, which provides leads to real estate professionals. They own Diverse Solutions, which is an IDX solution for real estate websites. So they own so many other things. They really have their hands in just about everything related to real estate right now.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. And it's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, the professionals that work in the business, I mean, embrace it for what it is, right? And just know that, I mean, people add so much value to a transaction. It's proven over and over. I mean, if you try to sell your home on your own, and you list it with an agent, statistically speaking, after paying commissions, you will net more all day long listing it with an agent than doing it on your own. And you're getting rid of that legal ramification of trying to represent yourself. There's too many things that can go wrong when trying to represent yourself. And I believe that the RPA, the residential purchase contract, is going to be changing here in the next November. So right around the corner. You don't want to try to figure that out on your own. It's not smart to do that. That's why we have Melissa Zavala in the studio, Broadpoint Properties, broadpointproperties.com. Her number is 760-839-3838, 760-839-3838. And one thing, Melissa, that, people do go to Zillow and get this Zestimate, and I know because, again, I've checked it out. I want to see. I mean, if you're in a condo complex, there's 300 condos, and you want to get a Zestimate, it might come close, right? You have little separators, bottom floor to the top floor, end unit, maybe a view. Maybe your unit has been redone inside where one hasn't. but you're gonna see what those sales are. But there's so many areas in San Diego, especially where I live in Olevenheim. There's no way that Zillow can comp out my house appropriately. There's just too many dynamics that go involved, and there's so many areas like that. You go to the beach communities. What's a house worth on the sand if there hasn't been too many sold? So you really, that's why you need to talk to a professional when you get into this. I mean, we're not leaving you out there to hang on your own. If you need any information on listing your house or buying a home and how to go through those motions, just reach out to the Mr. Credit Show. Go to askjjnow.com. Multiple ways to get a hold of us here. Send me a text, give me a call, or shoot me an email. John Jerotz, JJ with Synergy One Lending. I know I wanted to get to it today. It's going to have to wait until next week. If you've had problems qualifying for a loan, you want to become a homeowner, Synergy One has an exclusive program, and people talk about it. I want to lease to own. I want to get into a house. We have that program for you. It's called New Path. It's a lease to own. You call it a rent to own if you want. If you want more information on that, just reach out to me. AskJJNow.com. It's pretty cool. Some pretty cool features. It's not for everybody, but some pretty cool features. Melissa, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day.
Thank you.
I know it's tough in the real estate business.
It's fun to be here.
Well, I appreciate it. And we will have you back soon to bring us more information. Melissa Zavala, Broadpoint Properties, broadpointproperties.com. And again, I'll thank Jeffrey Kahn for taking time out of his Los Angeles busy day today on the 36th floor or 34th floor, whichever one it was, CahnTaxLaw.com, and take advantage of his $500 free value. I will see you next time, Monday and Wednesday, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like to contact Mr. Credit or access any free offers mentioned on the show, just go to mrcredit.org. That's mrcredit.org.